Well, it is time for us to check in with the Better Business Bureau of Central New England. We're very pleased that Meg MacBride is here live in the studio with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Hank. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you've got a great guest with you joining us now on the phone, Dr. Francis Rahaim, the president of Hug Your Money. Doctor, good morning.
Well, good morning to you. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you. Listen, I get a big kick out of that. I like the name of your company, Hug Your Money. How did you come up with that, and what does that mean?
Well, as a matter of fact, I came up with it because people would leave my office asking me if they could hug me, believe it or not.
That's a pretty good sign.
We wanted something that was actionable and non-threatening and really talk to people about embracing the idea of working with their money rather than it being a big, scary, murky subject. So
man.
That's how we came up.
Yeah, I was going to say, money these days really is scary. I mean, I think it's probably what keeps people up at night or wakes them up at night, more than anything else, is especially as they get towards retirement age or if they're young people and they've got the crushing college debt. Who does come to you and needs your advice and help?
Anybody with money. So I get asked that question a lot, like what's your demographic or who needs your help? But we help people who are in college, who are trying to figure out what they're going to do when they get out of college and how they're going to pay off their debt. We help people who are in midlife, who are thinking, will I be able to retire and how will I ever pay my mortgage off or my credit cards? And we help people who are already retired who are saying, how am I going to make my money last, or how will I compete with inflation, or what will I do with my assets to move that legacy to the next generation? And so truly anybody who is wanting to be better at managing their money and about improving their relationship with money, I would say, because we talk a lot about the psychology behind why we make the decisions we make in terms of managing our money. And it just seemed to me that this came from my own personal experience, which we can talk about, of course, but it came to me because I was in the insurance industry and we were only talking to people about insurance and investments. And we weren't really talking about what to do with your debt or what to do with a budget. And those are two monumentally important pieces of managing your money. And so I don't think that you can do this in a vacuum where you just say, I have an investment guy or I have somebody who helps me with my taxes. You really need to be able to have a platform to manage everything. And that's what we created at Hug Your Money.
Well, I'll let Meg jump in after this, but I am just kind of curious about if everything that you just told us, is that pretty universal? Has that changed over the 15 plus years that you've been in business, or is the world is different, I suppose, but does the advice with our money kind of stay the same?
What a wonderful question. I love it when I get surprising questions. So yes, it has evolved. I wouldn't say it's changed, but again, it came from my personal experience, and so has the creation of what we now call a financial wellness as a service platform, which is Hug Your Money, right? So at first it started out with just how do we help people pay off all their debt, including their mortgage. We don't want to harm their credit. We don't want to have them file bankruptcy or consolidate or negotiate. So we needed to develop something new, which we did, which is now patented. But then, when you get people out of debt, they want help with other things. And so they come back and say, but what about my other living expenses? And what about my retirement? So I wouldn't say that our idea has changed, but it has evolved as people have needed more support over the years. And of course, you have to stay flexible and market friendly.
Wow.
I hope that helps.
Well, I can just say that when I was looking at Hug Your Money, as a young professional with student loans, I felt very intrigued to learn more about your business. And I was doing some homework on your website, actually, and I noticed you have a couple books out, and you're called The Money Doctor.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, thank you so much, Megan. Again, personal experience. The first book was called Debt or Alive, obviously, about getting out of debt. Mm-hmm. And the second one is sort of a reiteration of the first book, but expanded to include just what Hank was talking about, the needs of today, which is retire debt and retire well. It's not retire debt or retire well. The what makes us, I think, so unique, and every company wants to believe that they're unique, and so we're in a very competitive environment where the general public is not really given the tools to understand what is different from one debt company to another. And so we did two things, actually, to differentiate ourselves. The first was actually to come to BBB and say, we want to be recognized as being different. And that was really a fascinating experience for me, which I'll tell you about. The second is that we went to the United States government and said, for 15 years, we think we've been doing something different. We need help to prove that. They looked at it and said, you know what? Here's your patent. So those two things, if you can imagine that I'm equating the Better Business Bureau with the United States government patent, those two things are what I point to when people say, why are you different than a Dave Ramsey, a Susie Ormond, or any of the local debt companies that they might run into. And yes, we manage debt. We also manage budget and retirement. But what makes us really different, I think, is that most of our clients are completely out of debt in 9 years or less, and that includes their mortgage, their student loans, their car loans, every kind of debt, personal debt, tax debt, whatever, without harming their credit, when most debt companies only look at credit cards. So again, we're looking at the whole picture. But what was so interesting to me about the Better Business Bureau and where they won me over was that I contacted them and said, we want to, see what we can do to get this A+ rating that is so coveted. And they said, well, debt companies don't really have that very often. And I said, but we're not a debt company. And lo and behold, I still remember the woman's name. Her name was Brandy. And she's not even at your office anymore, but she was at the time. And lo and behold, they went and looked at this in depth and came back and said, we're going to create a new category for you. I couldn't believe it, but they did. They created a new category for us, and then we did everything we needed to do to be upstanding and meet your guidelines, and earned that A+ rating, which we've kept now ever since we earned it, which, I don't know, 17 years ago or something like that, 18 maybe this year.
Yeah, that is fantastic. We have just a minute left. I want to make sure that you have enough time to tell people where it is that they can find you. It sounds like there's a good personal story as to what led you into all of this too, and we'll get into that the next time that you stop by. But I want to make sure that people have time to know where they can find you so they can get help.
Sure. Two things. One, we do a radio/TV show called Financial Fitness with the Money Doctor. It's full of free information, free tips, and you can find it anywhere you get your podcast, on public access TV, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, you name it. And of course, they can reach us through our website at hugyourmoney.com. That's hug like everybody needs a hug, hugyourmoney.com, or 413-773-3333.
Very good. Megan MacBride, of course, is with us from the Better Business Bureau. Megan, what do people need to know about what's coming up?
Yes, thank you, Hank. Really quickly, I just wanted to let all of our listeners know that on January 21st, which is today, at 1 p.m., not from 1 p.m., sorry, at the Worcester Public Library, we are going to be hosting another scam presentation. So we'd love for anyone to stop by who wants to learn about the most common scams that we have taken into account this year. And then tomorrow we have another seminar called Obtaining Capital in a Volatile Market, and that will be at 12 p.m. at the Realtor Association of Central Massachusetts in Auburn, Mass. We'd also open that up to all of our accredited businesses. We'd love you to stop by there too. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at 508-755-3340.